and welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn Embers and today I am building an old watermill house. So when I saw the trailer for the werewolf pack, I was like, ooh, that's a really lovely looking world you got there. And I was like, that world will be perfect for the old watermill house that I've been wanting to make for such a long time. So if you have watched or listened to my voiceover of the rustic farmhouse, I mentioned in that voiceover that I would love to make an old watermill and turn it into like a house. But at that same time, I had just built the Pocahontas cave, and that was very landscape heavy. And I knew if I built the old watermill house, it would also be very landscape heavy. And so at the time I didn't really want to build it, and I was just waiting for a time when I was like, let's do a little bit more landscaping. But when I saw this world, I was like, yes, I have to build this watermill in this world. But in saying that, I was in two minds as to whether I should actually buy the Woolworths, not Woolworths, picking mitts. I like that. Can't speak. I like that. Just breathe. Just empty your mind. Quite easy. Werewolf pack. There we go. So I was kind of like in two minds, like, should I buy it, should I not? So I was in two minds because one, this pack gives us a lot of like bold items that tend to look like they've seen some crap in their lives, they've been through a lot of stuff, a little bit weathered, a little bit oldie worldy, they've just been thrown out the window or something. And I was like, will I ever gravitate towards these items like ever again after I've used them for this build? Will I ever gravitate towards them ever again? Because I know typically I probably won't, because that's just not the style I like to build in. But then again, I was like, well, recently I've built like an old abandoned haunted village, and then I just built the Jasmine Palace, which was like an old crumbling palace that was all like falling to pieces. And as I was building that, I was like, oh, it'd be really handy dandy if I had some items that look like they've just been shoved out a window, they've not had a good time, they need a bit of love and care dedicated towards them, and it'd be just really handy to have in my game. And it probably sometime in the future, like for like a Halloween build, I would probably build like an old abandoned haunted mansion, or like an apocalyptic build or something like that. And so it would just be handy dandy to have those kind of items in my game. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and buy it, because then it will also mean I will have werewolves in the game, and I love anything to do with like supernatural and ghosties and ghouls, or anything that goes bump in the night. I love all of that. And it will also mean I will now own this world, and I really like the look of this world. I love like the like forestry, or anything woodlandy. I love anything to do with that. I'm more of a land person than I am a sea person. I just don't like boats. I just don't like going into the sea. It's never been the same after the sea decided to gobble me up and went, no, actually, don't like the taste of you, let's spit you back out again. But yeah, I just don't like sea. So I do prefer like woodlands area, and I've mentioned before I love waterfalls, and you typically find waterfalls in woodland areas. And I just find like woodlands and forestry areas like very like magical and enchanting and whimsical, and like very like peaceful and calming, but also at the same time very like dark and mysterious. Like anything could happen in these woods, you know, someone could get murdered here, or you know, someone could have like a spiritual sacrifice going on here. There could be a goat running around saying, don't use me, use them. But yeah, anything could happen in the woods, and you never know, because of those reasons it could be haunted. So but yeah, I just find the woods mainly very magical and whimsical and yeah, calming, you know. So I thought, let's just go and grab this pack. And as you can see, I did indeed grab this pack and started to build with it. And I actually did start playing with this world a little bit using my tester sims, you can see there. And because a lot of people were saying that this world, yes, it may be a small world, but it's quite open. So I was like, okay, since I'm waiting for a better lighting for this build, which I then found out there is no better lighting for this build. The world itself has a very odd lighting. It has like a bluish green mystery lighting or something like that. It's like they went for this lighting to create mystery and drama. Like, ooh, what could be here? What secrets could I uncover? It's got that kind of lighting to it, which is super annoying to build in. But I didn't know that at the time, so I did start playing with this game to see what it has to offer, and I actually chose Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. And just because, you know, I already made them once before and I already have them in my library, so I just grabbed them. And perhaps they came here because, like, the Hounds of Baskerville type of, like, storyline, and I think everyone walking around as a werewolf are just, you know, people in adult werewolf costumes. That's all I know so far. And so while John has met Greg, he's taken some notes. He's very angry, while Sherlock was having a grand old time at the pub or the bar. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the lighting in this world. As I finished the landscaping and doing what I needed to do just to like give me like a sketch out of like the landscaping of like where the water's gonna go and where the waterfall's gonna go, I was like, oh, that's a small bit of land I've got there to actually build the actual house itself. And despite it being like a small bit of land that I had left to build on, it's quite a spacious house, despite it only being like a 1-bedroom house. This here, I originally wanted the front door to be where that brick jut out bit is, where you just saw me trying to try all those different doors. That's where I originally wanted it to be, but as I was saying, the land that I had left after sketching out where I wanted my river or pond and my waterfall to go, I didn't realise that I had that little space left. And trying to fit a door where that jut out is, it was just too squishy. It was just too small. There was enough space for your Sims to get to the door, and it just looked too cramped. So I decided to put the door at the front of the build, which is where I wasn't going to put it. I was going to like use that as like a side balcony thing. But I really like it. Here, so this was another detail that I did to the bridge, which I would normally never ever do. I just thought it'd be like a nice little detail, you know. Some people say, like, where's the like support structure for the bridge? Well, there you go. You've got it, you know, pinned into the soil there. So that was another little detail that I liked. You can't really see it if you're just like playing the game, but if you watch the video, you know it's there now. So here I'm just using the tool mod just to push some of the items off the lot, including this fence and the bicyclists. The bike there, I pushed that off the lot as well. Also, just to mention, okay, this lot here is a 30 by 30 lot. A 30 by 30 lot is quite unusual to have in the game. Typically you would find a 40 by 30 lot. So that means if you place this lot on a 40 by 30 lot, everything that I have pushed off the lot it should remain if you shall wish to download this from the gallery. But if you download this from the gallery and stick it on this very lot here, which is a 30 by 30 lot, and it is the only one spare in this world, then you may find a lot of like landscape stuff missing, like the fence and like some of the rocks around the waterfall, because where I placed the waterfall meant the edges, or where you would cover up the edges from the rocks, they had to be pushed off the lot so they could fully cover the waterfall. So if you download this lot and place it on the same lot that I'm building now, you will find some of the rocks surrounding the edge of the waterfall disappear, and the only way you can get those rocks back if you place them down yourself and then use the tool mod to drag them off. If you don't have the tool mod and you download this build and put it on the same 30 by 30 lot that I built this on, then I'm really sorry, but those rocks, they're gone, they're dead to you. My apologies. But like I said, lucky for you, 30 by 30 lots aren't very common in The Sims 4. They're typically 40 by 30s. So your rocks around the waterfall and the fence and other foliage that I dragged off the lot should be absolutely fine. Everything else pretty much works apart from the sink in the kitchen, and I'll explain a little bit further as to why that may be when we are in there, because otherwise it's not going to make sense. So yeah, my apologies. So this part here, I did have like really like mossy, stagnant looking water, but then it's like, well, hang on, we've got one, a waterfall that creates current, and then two, you've got a water wheel that's actually moving and going around, and that also would create movement. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't like to play with realism when it comes to my builds because it's The Sims 4, so who cares? But I just felt like with those two things, I don't think so. Perhaps if it was just the watermill that's just going around and we sod the waterfall there, I would have left the pond water being a bit stagnant looking with all that moss and stuff. But with those two things, it's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. So you just saw me play with some like fairy lights that I was thinking of putting around the front of this build where the door is, like the front porch as it were. As I was editing this video, it was like, I was gonna put fairy lights that will look so good. I was so disappointed, and I was like, why? That will look so good. And it wasn't even, because I couldn't even go back. I couldn't even go back and add them in, because by that point I already took the screenshots. I already did that like little video bit at the beginning. I was like, it's too late. It's done now. Just to add those fairy lights in, I would have had to do the video shots at the beginning and then the screenshots, and it's just like that was just too much work just for fairy lights. But yeah, if you do download this lot, add some fairy lights and I think it will look quite nice. But yeah, that really disappointed me. It's like, nuts, fairy lights. So for the kitchen, so I just mentioned the kitchen sink. Now, like I said, I did play test it whilst I was trying to get some good lighting in the game, and it turns out Sherlock, he was mainly cleaning up all the dishes. John wasn't interested. But so I noticed Sherlock, he was actually using the bathroom sink, which is next door. So it could just be like a Sims thing, because, you know, they like to wash their dishes in the bathroom sinks. Or it could be because I placed the like pots and pans thing that comes from the ceiling. I placed that over the top of the sink. So I kind of think it's that and not like a Sims thing. And now I really wanted to use that overhead pots and pans thing, the wall that normally attaches to the ceiling, because one, I don't use it. I don't think I've ever used it, and I thought it looked really lovely in this kitchen. But the one thing that I have problem with it is like the height issue. There's because they have different heights for them. So we've got like one for short walls, one for medium height walls, and then one for tall walls. But I've been building a house with medium height walls, so that would have meant I could use the medium height pots and pan thing. But it still sits way too low to the point where your Sims would complain and go, "Doody-arsh, I can't get round." And so you have to kind of place it out the way a little bit. And yeah, I just find the height of these things, despite being like having 3 of them made for those different wall heights, I just think the heighting is still off for them, even the shorter ones. So I think the wall height for this is the shortest wall height, so I use the shortest wall height pots and pan thing, and it's still too low, I think. So if I would have moved it away from the kitchen sink, the Sims would be having problems with it. But I really wanted it because I've never used it before, and I thought it looked quite nice. So yeah, that's probably the reason why I never use it, because there's that height thing issue that's going on. So yeah, there is a little bit problem with the kitchen sink. So if that's annoying you that they're going up to the bathroom sink next door to wash their dishes, it's fine. You can delete the pots and pans, that's fine. But for me personally, I wasn't too bothered by it. I was like, whatever, that's what Sims do. It's something they've done before. I don't really care. I like my pots and pans. So I actually use the Moroccan pack, the Country Oasis pack tiles in this build, which I'm super happy with, because that is again a pack that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards just like normally building. And again, I don't want to I bought that pack for the Jasmine Palace because it needed it. That palace would be nothing without that kit. But again, it's something that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards so I'm really happy that I actually used those tiles, because it means I've actually used an item from that kit. Also, so I mentioned in the beginning that a lot of the items in this game pack is really knackered, old, weathered. It's seen some stuff in its life, and it's been through some stuff in its life, and it's not something that I would gravitate towards generally. But in saying that, there were some nice items that I saw. So when I first saw, I think I watched the live stream, but not live because I completely forgot about it. So when I watched the live stream, there were a few items I was like, ooh, that's actually really, really nice. One of them was the dining table with a little book underneath. I love that, so that's great. The worn out rugs. So we've only got one worn out rug, and then they gave us a more fleshier, newer, less worn out rug look, and I really like they did that. And whenever I want to use a worn out rug in the past, I had to go to the Get Famous rug, because that was the only worn out rug that we had so far. But now we got 2. I do like using a worn out rug, it's quite nice. And so a worn out rug is something that I'll probably use quite a bit, so that's great. Also, the desk with the door on top, I really like that object, but I would also love if they actually turned that into a dining table, because I have seen dining tables that have been made out of a door. So that would have been nice, but I'll take the desk either way. Also the pictures that have the wolfsbane in it with the lovely golden frame. As I saw them, I was like, ooh, they would be so perfect in a potions room, because they would look quite nicely with the Realm of Magic pictures that have the valerian root and other flowers and frogs in it. And I thought they would look quite nicely paired together, sometime in a future build. So yeah, there are some nice items that I probably will use on a frequent basis, but a lot of the objects I was like, I don't know. But sometime in the future, like a spooky build, that would be quite nice to have. So the study. So right, in this study, I placed a bear. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I just really wanted to use the bear because it was a new item, and I want to use as much of the werewolf pack in this build as I can, because it's not likely I will put as many werewolf items in any build ever again. Yeah, I put down this bear, and it doesn't really make any sense, but I came up with a little storyline, and it's basically, so this guy had a family, and he had like the typical white picket fence life, you know. He had a partner, and he had a child. He had a great job that paid well. He had like a lovely house, had like barbecue, neighbours barbecue day or something like that. He hung around with his neighbours. He could say his neighbours were his friends, and they went out, had barbecues and drinks together. It was a great picket fence life. But then one night, something came in and mauled to death their child. And it was put down as an animal attack. Classic Vampire Diaries. It was classified as a animal attack. But the husband wasn't taking any of that. It's like, no, it can't be an animal attack. What, do bears now have opposable thumbs? Can't you just open and unlock doors these days? And it's like, no, I don't believe it. It has to be something else. None of this makes any sense. No, I don't believe it. And this attack actually put a wedge in between the husband and the partner, and they got divorced. And so as the partner went one way, the husband went the other way, and spent his entire life now dedicated as to what really happened that night. And so he's travelled all around the world trying to find out the truth, and it has now led him here to Moonwood Mill. And he knows something about this place, has something to do with what actually happened on that night. He doesn't know what, but it all started here in Moonwood Mill. It has something to do with that night. So that is why the bear is there, because that used to be belonging to their child, or his child. And it might explain why some of the furniture kind of looks like it came from a more well-off home, like the armchair in the study. I just really like the swatch, and I was like, I need to use that swatch. But perhaps that chair came from that way well-off, lovely home, and they just split down, right down the middle as to who got what. You have that bit, I have that bit, you have that bit, I have that bit. So yeah, that was a little story, all because of the bear. So yeah, this is the bedroom, the only bedroom in this build. I had to do a little bit of roofing at the very end because I did something. I remember I put beams in this room. So when I put the beams in, I used the spandrel, so I had to draw in walls, and then all the roof pieces came in. A lot of it was fine. I just had to push them back or drag out the eaves using down the shift, so I'm only dragging out one eave. But then I had to put down an extra piece of roofing, and I thought it was going to take a really long time to do, to trying to insert it. It was quite simple and easy. But this is what I'm going to leave you. So thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will hopefully see you on the next one. So thank you and goodbye.